Welcome back, amazing business owners, to another episode of Business Straight Up, the podcast for creative business owners, photographers, estheticians, anyone who runs a service-based or creative business to actually make a living doing what they love. I cannot wait for you to hear today's episodes. I am actually super pumped about this because today's guest is an amazing businesswoman who helps doers, service providers, and CEOs add another revenue stream with VIP days. Gill has a system that allows solopreneurs to create and sell larger offers so that they can work less and live more. Bonus, it's kind of much easier for your brain when you kind of pack everything together, right? I've talked about batching in my own business specifically, and these systems are so important to nail down. You know how much I believe in this. So I am super excited for you to hear this today. And I know how much systems have literally saved my business on several occasions. If there is something that you need help with and you're like, Brooke, I know I need systems, but I don't know what to do, I want to encourage you to reach out. I know that it can be hard to ask for help, but I can promise you that if you have a question, chances are someone else does too. Head on over to businessstraightup.com/community and ask for help. I am here to help you. I want to see your business grow. I want to see you be successful. I want you to be sending me a private message in like a year or two saying, Brooke, I just took my family to Disney World because I am so excited about the success I'm seeing in my business. Or if you don't have kids, you don't want to go to Disney World, whatever that means for you. I want to see that happen for you. Head on over to the community, ask for help. And today, let's listen in on Gill, who will share all of her information on VIP days. What the heck does that look like? And how can you implement these in your own business to start working less and living more? Let's dive in. Hey there, awesome people. I am Brooke Summer, and you are listening to Business Straight Up, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs to learn, connect, grow, and build the business and life that they dream of. Welcome, let's get going and dive right in. Welcome back, amazing business owners, entrepreneurs, photographers, creatives, everyone and anyone who wants to actually make a living doing what they love, because it is time for the cliche of the starving artist to go. Today's guest, it is an amazing businesswoman, Gill, who helps doers, service providers, and CEOs add another revenue stream with VIP days. Jordan has a system that allows solopreneurs to create and sell larger offers so they can work less and live more. And I think we can all give a huge amen for that, for sure. Thank you so much for being here today, Jordan.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Brooke.
I know a little bit about your backstory. I know what I've read and what I know of you, but for anyone listening that hasn't had the chance to meet you in person or virtually, can you share a little bit more about what your journey has looked like and what got you to where you are now?
Oh, yeah. So I reign in Dallas, Texas with my little Cavapoo Vivian, who is like half laying in her bed, half not. We have a grand old time down here, and I've been in business since May of 2016. So a little hot minute, time flies, but I started out as a service provider. I work with seven-figure business owners with their behind-the-scenes systems. Things like setting up evergreen webinars, things like setting up email campaigns, all the nitty-gritty fun stuff for me. And I learned a lot, but about 5 months into my business, which I never did the whole like halvesy, like side hustle thing. I pretty much just like left my job and like figured it out. I don't recommend it for anybody. It ended up working out for me, but it's very scary. But about 5 months in, I realized that monthly retainers, I didn't enjoy. I didn't feel like I was coming with the normal energy and focus that I knew that I could have. I had to figure out a different way to work with clients. And I hired a sales coach at the time because I was like, I'm going to have to learn how to sell something other than like monthly retainers. I started working with her, and she was like, she actually did VIP days. That sounds super fun. And I was like, can I do that? She's like, yeah, sure. Anybody could do a VIP day. That's kind of when it started as far as for me. where I work with clients for a single day. So they don't get me on a monthly retainer. They don't get long project access to me. It's a singular day. We build one system together and then they go off and be great. And I get to sleep or drink pina coladas. And that's how I wanted my life. I, for about 3 years, was doing just VIP days as my main source of revenue. Like 85% of my revenue was coming in 6 figures. I worked 4 days a month with clients. And the rest of the time I either went to events or, I don't know, frolicked around the city. I don't know what I was really even doing. I look back at that time in my life. I'm like, what was I even doing with all of that free time? Right.
You were doing
but I recognized that for real, it just was I woke up and decided what I wanted to do. And it was I saw everybody else in this industry and being a service provider, just so burnt out, just overworked. And I'm like, that's not what you get into entrepreneurship for. You get into it for the freedom and for the time. I was like, well, I guess I should probably show other people how I'm doing this because, again, I'm able to live my life and not have to make as many sacrifices as a lot of other people. That's when last year, about a year ago, I decided to make an adjustment. And I still do VIP days, but so maybe one a month. And now I focus on my program, which is called Done in a Day. And that's all about helping other service providers move into the VIP day realm.
That's awesome. I know that when we've been in business for a while, it's much easier for us to look back and see what we've learned and how we've changed in the process. And someone told me once, it's smart to learn from your mistakes, but it's wise to learn from someone else's mistakes. And that's why I share my own mistakes so often to help others hopefully skip past that same mistake. With that in mind, what was one of your biggest lessons or mistakes when you were first starting out?
Oh my goodness. I think for a lot of people, but for me, for sure, was just letting my own mind garbage get in the way. Because at the time I was 26 when I started my business, and my mind garbage was, oh, I'm too young. No one will trust my insights or my advice or my strategies because I'm too young. People want to work with people who have experience. And I just had to be thankfully, it kind of came twofold. My naivete around it, I was just whatever, I'm just going to figure it out. But then kind of in the back of my head, it did kind of slow me down on some things and made me step back and be am I in the right direction? Instead of just moving forward and just trusting. I was a little bit slow to make decisions and slow to try things. But once I started trying, I kind of started to kick that habit a little bit. But for me, it was really the mind garbage that comes with it, which we all have in a variety of ways. Yeah. But for me, it was this notion of I'm young, no one will listen to me. And that was not true. And
How funny is it that we make up so many of these things that we hear that aren't even real?
Yeah, not real. No one said it. No one even whispered it.
How funny.
What are we doing?
Right? When Matthew McConaughey was kind of doing the podcast circuit with his new book, someone asked him, what was the best advice someone ever gave you? And he mentioned something about a grandfather, or I'm so sorry, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something along the lines of, I've had 1,000 crises in my life, and a couple of them even happened. They run through our heads like crazy, and we just let ourselves go down the rabbit hole instead of knowing that even if we make a mistake, we can keep going.
That's really good. I'm going to hold on to that one or go back and listen somewhere.
I know. I have to figure out where I heard it. Oops, he was on a few.
Yeah.
What is your why? Why did you start your business? Yeah. Why do you do what you do?
For me, it really is our mission, our vision. When I get on my team calls or I bring on new team members, the conversation is that we want to completely eliminate the word burnout from service providers' vocabulary. I don't even want it to be a fear that may happen. I don't want it to be creeping up. I want people to get to experience true freedom in their business. And that can come with not even being concerned about burnout happening. With every intention that every offering, every social post, every podcast interview that I do is geared toward hopefully inspiring and empowering online service providers to really look at how their business is run. And I know that the conversation a lot of times is about money, because money is important. You have to pay for things, and time. Time and energy are resources that are those are finite.
Right.
For me, it's much more important. And why for about 3 to 4 years, I didn't really care about growing my business because I was making a good living and I was working the amount of time that I wanted to work. I really wasn't like, oh, I need to figure out Forbes 30 under 30, or I need to figure out how to be a millionaire. Like, I just didn't really care about that. I was like, my business is here to give me a living and to allow me to travel and allow me to spend time with my friends and my family and be there for all the exciting events of life. It's okay if that's what you want out of your business. And there's no rush to all these other things. While I now am in growth mode because I have different financial goals than I did before. But I think really allowing for you to have the space to think of, how do I want to spend my time? How do I want to use my energy? Like, do I want to use it in the way that I'm currently doing it? Or is there something better?
To really design your life instead of just letting it take you wherever it wants to go.
Yeah, that's never a good idea.
What do you see repeatedly with your students and with the people you work with that tends to contribute to burnout the most?
I would say people-pleasing tendencies.
Ooh, ouch. Yes.
Thankfully, I'm not going to say it doesn't affect me ever, but it definitely is not something that I struggle with. I'm very clear and direct in my boundaries and my expectations. And I think that's why a lot of my clients come to me, is because they're attracted to the fact that I'm pretty hardcore about that stuff. I think when you just, again, kind of let life play out and say yes to everything and allow for other people to determine when you're available or whatever the case, it's almost like you're living your life for all these other people. And it really then gets you in a pickle, because if you're not living your own life, like, what's a more dangerous thing to be doing? Like, that opens you up to all sorts of stuff and liabilities and all the things. Just a simple, like, hey, like, I don't answer email after 5 p.m. Whatever. It's an arbitrary number, but at 5 p.m. and somebody emails you at 5:03, like, are you going to answer that email?
Wait. Yeah.
No.
Yes, I'm with you, girl.
That's what I would say is what really can trip people up is, as a service provider, we link service to being available and saying yes to everything.
That's good.
And that's not service, actually, because it has to be a mutually beneficial relationship. We're not the Ritz-Carlton where they can say yes to everything because they have bajillions of dollars, they have bajillions of people, they have all of this infrastructure. Why are we holding ourselves to the same standard as these companies who are known for their customer service, who have way, way, way more capacity to be able to uphold that sort of standard? For service providers, it's just us a lot of times, right? Maybe us and one other person starting out. If that's you, don't hold yourself to the Ritz-Carlton or Nordstrom standards. Like, stick to what is going to feel best to you. And a lot of people, if you just tell them what your hours are or what your expectations are, then they're going to respect them. It's when you say nothing, when you get in trouble.
Yes. And managing those expectations up front is so freaking easy to do, but so many people don't.
So easy. Yep. Oh, so simple.
So true. So true. I know how much systems have literally saved my business on several occasions. What are some systems that you have in your own business or ones that you've worked on with your students that have helped you to be consistent and profitable?
Yes. Obviously, I have so many systems. Everybody has a bunch of systems in their business, but maybe just a lot of them are broken or inefficient. But we have a lot of systems that I'm obsessed with. One of them, again, systems, I like to take out the typical negative connotation of systems. And really, a system is just a bunch of tasks in chronological order to accomplish a goal. That's like literally it. That's like your makeup routine literally is a system, like your workout routine, like your meal prep planning, your grocery store shopping, like all of these things are systems. While I stay in the realm of like business systems, I just want to like throw it out there that you're doing systems every single day in every aspect of your life. For my business, one system that I really enjoy is our podcast batching. We just did this recently where I have 3 days that is scheduled the first month of every quarter, the second week of the first month of every quarter, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I get done about it's between 20 and 24 episodes, which will take us, it'll be 2 episodes every week for that quarter. It allows us really allows me not to be the bottleneck, like if we're being really honest, and stopping the train in its tracks of like, Jordan, go record a podcast. that allows me to show up. It's like a party, and I show up and I get to talk to 20 to 24 new people, and we just get to talk and hang out and jam about whatever system they want to bring to the table. And then literally after those 3 days, like, honestly don't even think about my podcast again. Not that I forget that it's there, but just like my team takes it and runs with it. Mm-hmm. And again, we have our system laid out. Our quarter content is done for podcasts. Again, it's just a matter of putting episode in its different phases and pop it out in the format. That's one of my favorite ones that we do. And then also like a really simple one, but it's actually really profound. If you use Slack, so if you do have a team and you use Slack for team communication, like between me and my ops coordinator, so if you have a virtual assistant or ops person and you're like dishing out tasks on Slack, then what we have is like, if I give you a task in Slack, if you've seen the task, then you put the little eyeball emoji. So I know that you've seen it. And then when you've actually done it, you actually add the emoji, that's just like the check mark emoji. So when I see tasks that don't have either of those, I'm like, hey, have you seen this? Or if I see them with just eyeballs, but not a check mark, I can follow up and say, hey, have you done this? Or is this still outstanding? And so again, it's just a little system of like, hey, I'm dishing this stuff out to you. And a lot of times it goes off into the abyss. That's one way for it to have that checks and balances. That's like super easy to implement.
Yes. I'm a little self-conscious on video because I look down because I'm taking notes. So if you guys see me looking down, I'm totally not ignoring you. I'm like, yes, girl, yes. I never thought about that on Slack because it's very easy for things to get lost.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh. I love that. For anyone that has zero systems really nailed down, and as you said, we use systems all the time, but a lot of people don't really write them down. They don't think about doing things in the same way every time. For someone that has zero systems nailed down and they are just overwhelmed at the thought of even thinking about it, what is one of the best steps for them to get started with implementing these?
For me, for service provider, I would say a scheduling link. So if you do not have Acuity or Calendly or even in Dubsado or other, there's like so many of the different softwares, what a scheduling link can do to your life is like beyond. I know people who like run their entire businesses out of Acuity for like $15 a month, like 6-figure coaching or service provider businesses. It's amazing. And I think the amount of time, again, as a service provider, you're going back and forth to try and figure out a meeting time is so inefficient and like irresponsible at this point. Like, I will not do a guest podcast if there's not a scheduling link. I will not do anything if there's not a scheduling link. And my ops coordinator is told, do not go back and forth with anybody. Like if they don't have a scheduling link, that's like a sign that stuff is really unorganized. I just like can't be a part of it. I can't do messes. I really believe that's like the first really easy step, really simple step for people to figure out is just like, what is my availability? What days do I want to take calls with clients? What days do I want to take sales calls? What days do I want to take team calls if that's a thing? And making that availability in Acuity, Calendly, wherever. So that way, again, that's a boundary and an expectation that you are now able to set. Again, instead of being like, just schedule a call whenever, just being like Tuesdays and Thursdays are my client call days. If you need anything, like schedule them on these days and here's my link. And then it allows your clients to only see the times and days that are available for them. They won't see the random Wednesday time that you have or Friday or whatever and just be booking all sorts of craziness. And that's how you start to get some of that time back, not only from the back and forth scheduling, but from the boundaries and expectations between clients.
Today's episode is brought to you by the new and improved mentoring program with Business Straight Up. If you are struggling with something specific in your business and you need help that is personalized, I am excited to announce that I have officially added mentoring one-on-one back into my business. So what the heck is mentoring? Well, the nice part is that it's custom based on you and your needs for your business. I can help you with marketing or sales or branding and so many aspects of running a business. Mentoring is really part education, part accountability, and part inspiration. I want you to walk away from a mentoring session with me feeling on top of things, with clarity on where you want to go and how to get there and the steps to take to actually make it happen. If coaching or mentoring is something that you have been thinking about, it is time to get some details to see if we're a good fit. Go to businessstraightup.com/mentoring to learn more and reach out so that we can start working together. I can't wait to see where you go in your business in 2021. Definitely. I just did an episode on a linear calendar, which is like the calendar, the month goes across the page. So all the Wednesdays are lined up to Thursdays, stuff like that. But so many people were astounded that I book all my sessions and I work with clients on the same days every week. And they were like, how can you do that? I said, because I don't offer another option. Like, there is no other choice. This is when I'm available. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's cool. I love that. I've never seen mine set up like that. No, mine's regular.
I'm trying to think of where.
But that's so cool.
I know, it's fabulous. Then I can just block out. So for instance, I don't work on Fridays. Those are my days with my kids. They're blocked out and I'm not available on those days. I don't take clients those days. And people just find that so crazy. They're like, how can you do that? I'm like, why would you not?
Right. Like if that's how you want to live your life, like again, take the Fridays off.
Yes.
Don't make it an option.
Absolutely. Because when you're the business owner, you run your own business, you get to make the rules.
You do, which is the beauty of it, right?
Right? Embrace it for sure. So for anyone that is unfamiliar with VIP days, can you explain them a little bit more? What does that mean? What does that look like?
Yeah. How I describe VIP days is it is a 4-figure offering that lasts about 3 to 8 hours that leads your client through about a 3 to 5 phase transformation. I just use a lot of numbers because it's concrete and I like concrete and certainty. That allows you to kind of, I'll walk through the different numbers. The 4-figure offering is because instead of maybe you're a website designer, I'll do that as an example, and you currently are taking 3 months to do a website. Imagine getting paid the same or more for creating that website in a day. Yeah. I know people who create websites in a day all the time. I just hired somebody to do mine in 2 days. It's possible. And that's why it's a 4-figure offering. People will pay more money to have it done quicker. This happens in every industry. I like to give Disney World as an example for those of you who are parents and have been to Disney World or have heard of it. There's the regular ticket, which is you wait 2 hours for this 5-minute teacup ride. And it's like, what is happening? This is so inefficient. I can't handle this. And then there's a different ticket type that's a higher tier, that's more money, that where you actually only wait like 15 to 20 minutes, fast pass or max pass if you want to look it up. And that allows you to wait less time, but you get the same transformation, the transformation being the teacup ride in this example. Like people pay for faster cars, people pay more for delivery fees of food. Yep. If you go to every industry, it's everywhere. And it's proven in your industry, whatever you're working on, it can be put into a day in some way, shape, or form. And it should be 4 figures because I truly believe in being paid what you're worth and people will pay for your value, but people will pay more money for a quicker transformation. And then the 3 to 8 hours, as far as like time frame goes, is centered around not allowing your VIP day to bleed into another day. So I see people who are like, well, I kind of want to do like a 2-hour scenario. And what happens, as we all know, because we do this a lot of times as business owners, is all of a sudden your client will take a shower or like go for a walk or something in between the time that you last spoke to them and the next time that you talk. And all of a sudden they want to completely derail all of the work that you just did. That's why I'm really in every person, and I mean every single person, 99.99/ basically 100% of everybody comes back to me when they try to test me on this and say, you were right, Jordan, just don't do it. Right. At this point. So keep it within 3 to 8 hours within a 24-hour period. That's how I like to put it. And then the 3 to 5 phases is, this is not a strategy session. This is not a power hour. This is not like a consultation call. This truly is you taking somebody through your process, through your transformation. Again, it could be in website design. It could be copy on a sales page. It could be launch strategy. It could be setting up your evergreen webinar. Whatever your transformation is, chunking it down into 3 to 5 phases allows you to pace yourself throughout the day. But it also is really labeling you as an expert when people are coming to you. So if you're like, here's a random example, like if you go to a hairstylist and they're like, hey, like I can color your hair. It's like, okay, cool. Then you go to another colorist and you want blonde hair. They're like, hey, I have this 3-step process for how to transform your brunette hair to blonde hair. Great. I want that because I know that she has done what I need her to do before versus just being really broad and generic like everybody else. And that's really why I have those numbers and that definition is to really solidify. If you can have those 3 points, then your VIP day is going to be pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And for anyone listening that is like, how does this apply to me? I know that for me as a photographer, I have talked about this for years, but I've never given it that title. And the bottom line is having a client experience that literally walks someone through the same experience every time. That's an elevated experience. They're not just coming in, take a few photos, leave, and then I send them a gallery. That's BS. I almost said, I'm trying not to swear on here, but that's terrible. This allows me to truly spend my time working with one person. I only take one client per day. And that means that not only am I an expert at what I do, I have a higher price tag for that, but I only work with clients 2 days a week. It is totally doable, guys. Absolutely. Yeah. What could these VIP days look like? Like I just talked about for photography, what would it look like in other industries for other services?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's so many different ones. One client was a relationships coach. And so she helps partners really reestablish their connection. She does a VIP day with couples, which is pretty cool, going through exercises and stuff like that, and then giving them the tools to then go and be great, obviously, in their relationship. I've had people who have done, again, websites. I would say copywritings are common. Strategists, if you're a strategist for strategic planning in a business or launch strategy or Pinterest marketing strategies, any kind of strategy, honestly, is really crucial. So if you are somebody who's right now implementing and really your favorite part is the strategy, then you could just do a strategy VIP day and that could be perfectly fine. I have somebody who builds Airtable bases in a day. You can get real niche with a lot of these. I know somebody, I think I don't want to say like weirdest one, but the one that tested my theory around this was a woman who came to me and said, I write songs that help heal people through their trauma.
Oh, wow.
Can I do that in a day? And that's super powerful. Let me get back to you. I'm not super woo-woo. Being a systems person, I like 1 + 1 = 2. I think like the most woo thing I have is probably like this candle that I have right there. But I went and talked to one of my super woo-woo friends, Laura, and was just, hey, this is what this person wants to do and wants to do it in a VIP day. Is this something that people would want? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, like send her my way. That she would be a great referral for me. And so now she had this like direct referral and now she's creating these VIP days where she works with the clients during the day to figure out what their trauma is and et cetera. And then she takes the rest of the day to record and produce like a totally original song and then gives it to them at the end of the day for them to use for meditations and sleep and all of these things. And it's like so cool. First, I was like, you might have stumped me, but I was like, yes.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. I love it. I feel like so many service providers and creative, we like to chunk down into small pieces and that can fit sometimes, but a lot of times when you just offer the full service and just go all in really serving your clients, it does so well, not only from a business perspective, but from the transformation you offer them.
Totally. It doesn't, if you want to do the whole thing, it is possible. Like I said, I guess it was just last month that I hired a gal to do 12 pages of a website for me in 2 days. I was even like, I don't know about this. It's making me nervous. And she did it. And it was amazing and beautiful and everything that I wanted. It really can be done. It's just a matter of how do we speed up the process? And that's through a lot of templates. That's through a lot of swipe files and plug and plays and all of the things that you can create to speed up your offering.
I know that I've talked about batch doing things previously, because that's a huge part of my own business, not on the scale of yours. And you really should sell that podcast shit. Girl, what? 24 and what? Anyway, I digress. But I've also noticed, so Todd Herman of the 90-Day Year, he talks about context switching and how they found that, let's say you have 2 tasks to do in one day. 100% divided by 2 would give you 50 and 50, right? But that's not how it works. Your brain needs that time in between. So really, it's more like 40 and 40 with 20% of your brain trying to figure out what the hell you're doing next. And I feel like these VIP days would be extremely efficient. Oh, yeah. For not only you as a business owner and a service provider, but also for your clients too.
100%. Yeah. It really helps them. And a lot of my clients will just say, I just need you to sit down and sit with me, because if you sit with me, then I will focus and I will do what has to be done, versus again, fitting me in between client calls or podcast interviews or whatever the case. And yeah, that's how you can get a lot done for yourself as well as your client when you have focus. I think it's such an underrated part of business and people fight it, but it is really powerful.
Definitely. And there are things that will take time to kind of think through. Like I know with my mentoring students, I will send them homework ahead of time. That way we can maximize our time together, right?
Yes.
So that they know exactly what we're going to put into these offerings, what we're going to do here. It does require some pre-work, but I think it's so worth it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that for people who are like, oh my gosh, I asked my client 2 questions and they fight me, how could I possibly get them to do pre-work? I've had people, my pre-work is like maybe 2 hours or so. It'll take people. Again, for my website people, they've got 5 or 6 hours of pre-work for their clients to do.
Yeah.
And they have their clients get it done, and it's totally fine. If you're having that issue with those 2 questions, like just know that there are people and there are ways that you can work that in where the pre-work isn't super overwhelming or anything that anybody is upset about or fights.
Right. Well, and I think it comes down to the fact of, let's say your VIP day is 6 hours and this is what you're paying for. You can either spend those 6 hours doing your work that I asked you to do ahead of time, or we can actually be implementing it. Your time just goes so much further.
Agree.
I know that these little nuggets of inspiration and wisdom mean so much to my listeners, and they have to me as well. What is one thing you would tell someone that is struggling in their business right now, either with overwhelm or trying to get those clients so that they can grow even further than they can imagine?
Yeah. My one tip of business overall is knowing yourself is one of those things that people fight for some reason because it's scary to know yourself. And one way that I think is really fun and super helpful is doing the Strength Finders assessment. I'm obsessed with Strength Finders. I love it. I use it in my business all the time, just as a guiding light of just where I need to be and what I need to be doing. Because if I'm really outside of that, or if I'm starting to do something, I'm like, why am I hating this? I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is not where I'm supposed to be. If you are feeling that overwhelm of marketing, how should I market? Like what marketing works for me? Which ones will I enjoy? Because I hated marketing for the longest time until you find marketing that works or that you enjoy. And that also goes to the offerings you have and all of that. But Strength Finders, I would say, is a really great, easy, I think it's like $19 or something, to get to know yourself better. And they give you this like really awesome packet that you can read and really digest. And it's a lot of fun. So actually, this, I guess, just shows how nerdy I am. But my fiance and I had a date where I made him take the Strength Finders test. And we sat there and we talked about, do we agree with it? Do we not agree with it? Look at our like last strengths. Do we agree with those? It was really helpful.
Can I just say that that was brilliant of you to do that before you were married? Because I asked my husband to do it after we were married, and that did not go over very well. So for anyone listening, do it before you're married.
Exactly. You'll get a better response, I'm sure.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I think often our strengths will also align with what we love.
Agreed.
So the things that we're good at will align with what we really love. And knowing your ideal client is so important. But like you said, also knowing yourself. And where do those two intersect? What is that called? A Venn diagram? Where it's like the two circles.
Intersecting.
Right? Like where does that intersect? And where is my happy place? My zone of genius is so important to know for sure. To all of the listeners and amazing business owners, photographers, and creatives that have joined us, thank you so much for listening today. I am so honored that you pressed play and spent this time with Jordan and I. Jordan, where can people find out more about you and learn more about what you do?
Yes, I am definitely on Instagram. That's probably my favorite social media platform out of all of them, at System Saved Me. I try to keep it easy. I've got fun different resources and information on my website too, which is systemsaveme.com. And because you're listening or watching this podcast, you can add, guess it, System Save Me, the podcast to your favorite podcast players. Any of those 3 places, you can find me or get to know me better.
Perfect. And if you are someone that loves to help other people and you know someone who can use this information, maybe you heard something and you're like, my friend just really needs to hear this. Can you forward this episode over to them? I know that Jordan and I would so appreciate that. And if you're thinking, wow, this content was amazing, Brooke, how can I thank you? I have a way you can thank me. Can you head on over to iTunes and leave a review? I know it seems small, it seems silly, but in the podcast world, those reviews mean a lot to us. I would so appreciate you. It helps me know how I can better serve you, and it helps me get amazing guests like Jordan, right? So hit pause now if you need to, leave a review. And if you screenshot that review before you submit it and email it to hello@businessstraightup.com, I have a freebie for you because freebies are fun.
I agree.
Thank you so much for your time, Jordan. I'm so glad we could connect today.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Brooke. This was awesome.
And thank you to all of my listeners. And you didn't think I was going to let you get away without some homework, right? So I want to know, what is one small thing that you are going to do this week to start putting into place a system, or maybe look at these VIP days so that you can be more efficient in your business and get more done and not have to be spinning your wheels all the time. Let me know in the community at businessstraightedup.com/community, because it is time to start stepping into the CEO role in your business and to be in the know as to what's going on so that you can be fully efficient in how everything is running. I can't wait to see what you do with your business and how you impact the world. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening to Business Straight Up. I'm so glad that you could join us today. Check out the show notes for this and all of the episodes at businessstraightupodcast.com. And I can't wait to talk with you again. Have a great day.